What's going on YouTube? Now the reason why this video quality might seem different and it's all the frames per second might be low and whatnot, that's because I'm recording on my webcam right now, as you probably tell, because it's my computer desk all over here and stuff. And this is pretty much a Q&A video, and I used to do these a year ago and whatnot, but for some strange and random reasons I just stopped doing these Q&A videos. So what I'm going to do now for these videos, because I don't feel like busting out my camera, because that camera records in AVI, big ass files or whatnot. So I'm going to be doing these Q&As on Twitch TV, and Twitch TV records every live stream you do. So from Twitch TV, I'm just going to upload my Q&As to my YouTube channel. And for those of you who may be following my Twitch TV channel, you're watching the stream right now, you have no idea what's fucking going on. I'm doing a video right now, and you guys are watching it live. So, there you go. So, basically what I do is, it's basically like a Q&A, but I'm going to rename it to, Ask Shoke. I don't know, I just want to put something creative on the Q&As, too generic and whatnot. So, basically what I do is, I'll read the questions for one of my Q&A videos, and I'll answer those questions on that video. And then on that video, you guys leave me questions, so that in my next video, I'll answer those questions in the comment section. Now, of course, because of time constraints, I can't answer them all, but I will try to do as many as I can. So, let's get started. Back in my video, a year ago, July 2011, that's the last time I did a Q&A video. This is where I'll be reading my questions from. Let's see, what will be the first question here? Megalodon64 says, not trying to be racist here, but do you love KFC? I wouldn't necessarily say I love KFC, but yes, I do like KFC naturally, since I am indeed black. But no, I don't love KFC. Really, I'm tired of a lot of those fast food chicken places, to be honest. It's like the quality in the chicken is just going down the drain as the years go on. They don't taste as good as they used to. So yeah. What is your favorite? What's this guy's name? The CTH121. What is your favorite NFL team? Please don't say the Cowboys. It's not the Cowboys. As a matter of fact, the Cowboys is my least favorite. I do live in Dallas, but I am not a Cowboys fan. And if you guys came out here to Dallas and you're talking down on the Cowboys, people will want to fight you over that, okay? Because these people out here in Texas, they act like they're in a freaking cult, okay? You can't talk about the Cowboys. You can't talk about the Mavericks. That's blasphemy. You'd be a blasphemer. You're a heretic. They will lynch you for talking down on the Cowboys. But yeah, I think the Cowboys are a garbage team. They are very overrated by Texans. And pretty much they're just living off the past, success that they had. Just completely just overrated. Commander Maskman. Epic name. What are 2 things you think a game needs to be good? And what did you get for Christmas? I have no idea what I got for Christmas last year, so I can't answer that part. But what are 2 things I think a game needs to have to be good? The 2 main things, gameplay and controls. And those 2 things, kind of go hand in hand pretty much, but they are kind of 2 separate things. You need good gameplay and you need good controls. You need good controls to experience the game, the great gameplay, and you need great gameplay, for the good controls to even matter. You see what I'm saying? So gameplay controls first. Everything else is, pretty much secondary for me. Pretty much. Moving on to some other questions. DoggyFizzle719 says, ass or titties? I've always been an ass guy myself. Tits are nice and all, but like when she turns around and walks away, you see what I'm saying? You gotta have something to look at. You gotta have something to look at. That ass. And then we all, huddled up on each other. I have to have something to grab down there. Now, like I said, if you got some titties, that's nice, that's great. But I could deal with some B cups as long as you got an ass, girl. I could do that. That's cool. Shoke can roll with that. But yeah, I take ass over titties pretty much any day. pretty much any day. Slasher 1575 says, what is your favorite genre of games, adventure, shooter, strategy, etc.? You know, at this point, I can't say. At the start of this generation, maybe because I was a kid, at the start of this generation, it was shooters. Like I said, maybe it's because I was a kid. But at this point, I don't know. I got tired of shooters like real quick, real boring. I only buy ones that are like really, unique now and whatnot. But I don't know. At this point, it's hard to say. I think I'm still going, back over to RPGs like I was with the last generation. But I do love fighters who are fighters and RPGs. I'd say those are pretty much my favorite genres. And I also love strategy games. I'm not necessarily talking about RTSs. I'm pretty much talking about any kind of game. I'm talking about any non-typical, strategy game. And how can I explain this? Games like Valkyria Chronicles. You see what I'm saying? Strategy, but it's not exactly, a RTS. You see what I'm saying? Well, I mean, it kind of is, but you guys know what I mean. Shut up. But pretty much any kind of RPG-ish game that has like this, deep, strategy to it and things of that nature. Those are the kind of games I like. So yeah, fighters, RPGs, and fighters, require strategy too. So pretty much, any game that requires strategy, and that's not necessarily a genre. But like I said, I really don't have a specific genre that I like anymore. If a game is good, and it's not too simplistic, I'll play it. That's pretty much it. 5978888. This guy's name is like a freaking friend code. He asked, "What is my favorite video game villain?" I don't know. That's pretty hard. That is a really hard. What the hell is my favorite video game villain? I don't want to take a lot of time thinking about this, but I'm just going to speak of this gen since these people are more fresh in my mind since it was this generation. Scholar Visari from the Killzone franchise, he's an epic ass villain because his speeches are just like epic beyond compare. Demise from Skyward Sword was pretty damn epic. I don't know. There's really not too many villains that I'm fond of. I don't think like villains are really starting to just be so generic, and just I don't know. Anime villains are much better than video game villains. I don't know. Why did you stop playing basketball? Why did I stop? Oh, pretty much and this might sound a little ridiculous to you guys, but if I'm remembering correctly, the reason why I stopped playing basketball is because I didn't want to be stereotypical. And I know that might sound ridiculous to some of you guys, but I was kind of young back then and whatnot. And that's back when I made up my mind that I wanted to be a lawyer. So I was like, you know what? Every black guy wants to play sports. I don't want to be another statistic, a stereotype. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I pretty much stopped playing sports altogether. Well, not altogether. That's why I stopped playing, in official leagues, for my school, and stuff like that. That's when I decided that I wanted to get in law and things of that nature. So yeah, that's pretty much why. Moving on. Chicken or sex? Nero332 asks. I may be black, but even a black person would choose sex. Do you think, NES Fighter asks, do you think JRPGs are dying, and is gaming better without JRPGs? Yeah, I do think JRPGs are dying. They're becoming a rare breed nowadays, or at least, really, really good ones. Xenoblade, thank God that game exists, because, we haven't had a game like Xenoblade since, like the PS2. And there is Lost Odyssey, which I didn't finish, but that was pretty good, but Lost Odyssey was really good, but it wasn't really amazing. But yeah, definitely the quantity of JRPGs is really starting to slowly kind of, die out. And would gaming be better with JRPGs? No, because JRPGs are one of my favorite genres. So in my opinion, it would be really terrible if JRPGs ceased to exist, and now we're just in this market full of third and first person shooters who are all the same with just a different layer of paint you know. Moving on. Which games are your personal classics? Basically, what were your first games you played? Well, a lot of the first games I played were on Windows 95 and Windows 98. And particularly games like Genome, and I know a lot of you aren't going to have any idea what these games are, but like I said before, I started off as a PC gamer on Windows 98. Genome, Swarm Assault, Requiem, you know, Worms Armageddon. Those were pretty much, my first like video game experiences. Pretty much, even I was playing like a Tiger Woods PGA on Windows 95, I think. So those are my first couple of video game experiences. But console-wise, I think the first game I remember playing console-wise is probably motherfucking Battletoads. I might be wrong about that. That was, when I was like really young, y'all, so I might be off. But Battletoads, Super Mario Kart, Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, that game was the shit. Kirby's Avalanche, Metroid and all that. Sonic, of course, can't forget about Sonic. Basically, the usual, really the usual, really. I also had some like obscure games. I had this Chester Cheetah game on the Super Nintendo. Other like licensed games like that. But yeah. Now Street Fighter 2. I had some pretty damn good experiences back in the day. Last question, because this video is being extra long and whatnot. Let me try to pick out a really good one. A really, really good one. Let me see. If you had to, I didn't read this before I started reading it. If you had to eat and drink two things for a whole week, which would, and it had to be between this two choices. I'm reading what he said. Fried chicken, all these black jokes, fried chicken and grape soda, or watermelon and Kool-Aid. I'd have to go with the fried chicken and grape soda. So that's the last question for this Q&A. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry if this video quality is crap and whatnot, but it's easier this way. It's just easier on me. But that's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Leave your questions for me down below, and I will see you fools.